One Piece Advent Calendar, and today we're talking about the second arc of One Piece. We're reviewing One Piece as I watch all of One Piece during the 6 month hiatus to catch up and be a true One Pieceer before the thing returns. So we're talking about Orange Town today. So, the thing we want to talk about here is the particular point of interest, particular POI, at least for me, and I'm assuming for many other people, but you guys let me know in the comment, is the introduction of Nami, the cat burglar, right? The crafty and resourceful thief who targets pirates. I appreciate how she's not sort of like, in the same way that Luffy and Shanks were not sort of your typical pirates. She's very much not your typical pirate heroine, but rather somebody who's got her own agenda, which is always sort of like fun in a character, right? She's got her own agenda, and again, much like Zoro had, with him, not being, being like this pirate hunter, had to earn the respect and trust of Luffy, which he quickly did in Romance Dawn. Nami has this huge reluctance to trust others, and I found just generally her character refreshing, and adds a lot to her complicated relationship with both Luffy and Zoro, and it sort of creates these interesting dynamics, especially when she's trying to manipulate them for her own gain. Her skepticism about pirates, an eventual sort of, initially temporary alliance with Luffy adds kind of this layer of tension and intrigue that I find really appealing, right? And it's still very much, tonally like what we were seeing in Romance Dawn. It's fun, it's playful, there's a lot of humor, just because that's kind of how Luffy operates it, and we're only seeing a small part of the world right now, and so that small part of the world we're seeing is very much constrained to how he sees things and how he operates. So it's still very much sort of lighthearted fun, whatever, but she's adding this extra level of intrigue to it. We gotta talk about Buggy, right? Buggy the clown. Buggy's again, it's kind of oh right, this is what pirates is, because I'm just used to sort of this Western sort of viewpoint of Playmobil and Lego pirate figures. You know what I mean? That kind of that's where your head goes, and it's no, we got this clown pirate. He's very anime. He's very flamboyant personality. He's got his obsession with his appearance and the way he uses his devil fruit powers, right? I didn't really talk about this in the Romance Dawn video, but we have these things in the world called devil fruits, and if you consume the devil fruit, you get the powers of that devil fruit at the expense of you can't go in water. So these pirates can't swim, these ones who've consumed the devil fruits and got powers, right? Luffy has one that's made him a rubber man. He's a rubber man, so he can stretch, and he's immune to quite a lot of things because he's made of rubber. And Buggy's also got one as well, and the way that he uses his powers makes him, which is the chop powers, right? They allow him to split his body into pieces. It's both sort of funny and clever, especially in the battles. It showcases the whimsical yet dangerous nature of the devil fruits, which kind of plays out as we meet more and more of these devil fruit users, right? But yeah, the use of them makes them this humorous yet sort of menacing antagonist, which is really fun, which I really, really enjoyed. I liked Buggy's antics. I liked his over the top style. It was entertaining, particularly how he takes himself so seriously, despite everything. The fact that he's like a clown, and the fact that he has this like chop chop ability, is just like completely absurd. Though I do like, I think it's used quite creatively for some of the like the fights and stuff like that. Is really cool. I mean, going back to sort of our characters who are already in there, it, I like what we're seeing with Zaro. That dedication, that strength that I was kind of talking about in the Romance Dawn video. He continues to show that, especially in his battles against like Buggy's crew, despite when he's like injured and all that, and he keeps going. Like, that was really badass. You kind of see a lot of sort of his endurance. You see a lot of his willingness to put himself like on the line, which highlights his commitment to Luffy and this like newly forming crew which they're trying to put together. And yeah, that those early shows of loyalty, which become kind of like the signs of what define, what the bonds are between the Straw Hat crew members. Zoro really early on showcases this stuff, and it's really, really cool. It's really, really cool. I'm talking about sort of like events in the arc which kind of like really stood out to me. Right? I've got to think about Luffy's fight with Buggy, particularly the moment where like Buggy mocks Shanks, mocks like the redhead Shanks, leading Luffy to like fiercely defend, like his mentor, his friend, however you want to sort of like picture him of. I love how the scene sort of reinforces, again, like all this stuff is just like establishing like tone and what's kind of like important and what to our characters. And so we're seeing stuff appear here like loyalty again. He doesn't tolerate insults to those he cares about. He's always going to sort of like stand up to them. It's one of the first times we see Luffy's like really strong moral compass in action against, a villain, which adds weight to the character beyond just sort of like the simple like adventuring. Although, as I said, you kind of like really love that simplicity, but the fact that we kind of like see this stuff like, somebody like sticking to their values and stuff like that, we're really, really quickly getting sort of like this sense of what like Luffy is about. A little bit itchy under here, man. Still a lot of humor in Orange Town. This is very much just like humorous sort of like era part of One Piece, especially again within those. It's like it's the battle, and it's like the banter between Luffy and Buggy, right? Buggy's obsession with his nose, and Luffy's like complete lack of concern for it making. It's just like entertaining. Do you know what I mean? And the exchanges that balance between the sort of more intense action. I liked Luffy's attempts to recruit Nami, given her like clear disinterest in being a part of a pirate crew. So we got like this like cat burglar of pirates, and we've got a pirate hunter. Like like Luffy's sort of like methodology of like who wants to recruit is just like, it's really endearing. And I appreciate those moments of levity, because they keep things like lighthearted, but it's still like advancing the story. In terms of like pacing, I don't think we're like. I'm just gonna say like pacing's good until I say it's not, because like at this point these arcs are pretty short and pretty concise, and I don't have too much criticism from the sort of like pacing side of things, right? We're really just taking what happened in Romance Dawn, and we're just sort of like building it at a nice pace, introducing more characters, expanding the crew's dynamics, more action, more humor. Yeah, I like it. It's fun. It's engaging follow-up to Romance Dawn. I enjoy the mix of humor, the character moments, the unique sort of brand of villainy that Buggy brings, because like I haven't seen that before in something, or at least I'm blanking on something that's kind of similar to that. Yeah, man, an enjoyable next step in kind of, again, we're still very much in this is like goofy, funny little show, but I like it. I like it. Back tomorrow. We're talking about the next arc. As a first-time One Piece watcher, first-time One Piece fan. Peace out.